The world is once again turning its eyes toward the Middle East. A massive maritime convoy is now underway, carrying what is described as one of the largest humanitarian missions in recent years. More than 50 ships, departing from Barcelona, are crossing international waters with one clear destination: Gaza, a territory long isolated under Israel's strict naval blockade. This flotilla is not an ordinary group of vessels. Behind it stands the symbol of global solidarity, with activists, humanitarian organizations, and representatives from no fewer than 44 countries joining forces under one cause. The official account of the Global Summit Flotilla confirmed that the convoy is transporting vital supplies, staple food, essential medicines, emergency medical equipment, infant formula, and other urgent provisions. Organizers stress that this mission carries no military intention, only the determination to save lives in Gaza. Yet tension rises. Israel, which has long defended the blockade in the name of security, now faces a direct challenge. This time, it is not a handful of ships, but a vast armada carrying international flags of solidarity. Analysts warn that the next moves by Israel will shape its image on the global stage. Will the flotilla be allowed to deliver aid, or will it be stopped with force? The world holds its breath as this humanitarian fleet sails, carrying both hope and the risk of confrontation. Reactions from Israel are emerging. Officials in Tel Aviv declared they are closely monitoring every vessel heading toward Gaza's waters. Military spokesmen warned that any attempt to break the blockade without authorization would be treated as a provocative act. Israel maintains that this convoy poses potential security risks, even as organizers insist the mission is entirely humanitarian. The Israeli government faces a sharp dilemma. Allowing the ships through could weaken a blockade enforced for years, yet using military measures could trigger a backlash of international condemnation, especially given the broad participation of global activists. Analysts argue that every step Israel takes will be judged under intense international scrutiny. Meanwhile, global media have already amplified the story. Headlines in Europe and beyond highlight the growing momentum of solidarity with Gaza. Some governments openly support the mission, while humanitarian groups stress that blocking aid is equivalent to prolonging civilian suffering. The key question remains: how far will Israel go when confronted by the presence of 44 nations in international waters? Attention is not only on the number of ships, but also on the supplies they carry. Organizers state the convoy holds thousands of tons of aid: rice, wheat, critical medicines, emergency hospital equipment, oxygen tanks, and infant formula. Special nutritional packs for children are included, given the alarming levels of malnutrition reported in Gaza. Humanitarian agencies warn that Gaza's 2 million residents live in dire conditions. Hospitals are on the brink of collapse, fuel for generators is scarce, and critical patients often go untreated. For doctors, every box of medicine, every oxygen tank, and every surgical tool on these ships could mean the difference between life and death. Israel argues the blockade is necessary to prevent weapons from entering Gaza. Activists reject that claim, emphasizing that all cargo has been inspected to ensure it is strictly humanitarian. This contradiction intensifies moral pressure on Israel. For the people of Gaza, the flotilla is more than aid, it is a lifeline. The question is whether it will arrive safely, or whether history will again record another clash at sea. Political momentum behind the convoy is growing. Governments and international organizations are calling for the fleet's protection, urging safe passage for the aid. The United Nations has expressed deep concern for civilians in Gaza, urging all sides to avoid confrontation. European capitals, from Paris to Berlin, have voiced similar positions. Humanitarian aid must not be treated as a threat. Members of parliaments in several countries openly support the flotilla, framing it as a moral duty of solidarity. In the Middle East, mass demonstrations are underway. Thousands march with flags and banners declaring support for Gaza, intensifying political pressure on Israel. Even some of Israel's closest partners are finding it difficult to remain silent. Yet despite mounting global calls, Tel Aviv signals caution and firmness. Israel insists it will not allow violations of its naval blockade. With both sides entrenched in their positions, the situation edges closer to a point of dangerous uncertainty. The prospect of a direct clash grows more real by the hour. The humanitarian fleet advances toward tightly controlled waters. History has shown such attempts often end in force, with arrests or even casualties. This is why many describe the mission as a high-stakes gamble. Israel commands one of the region's most advanced naval forces, with warships, surveillance aircraft, and special forces units. If they choose confrontation, activists aboard could face detention or worse. Analysts see mass arrests or ship seizures as likely scenarios, but the risk of escalation looms if any resistance occurs. Activists, however, insist they will remain peaceful. Armed only with cameras and documents, they aim to show the world the reality at sea. Yet even the calmest intent can unravel in moments if tensions boil over. The world now watches anxiously. Will this convoy mark a turning point of peaceful defiance, or descend into another violent chapter of the blockade? Any clash at sea would ripple far beyond Gaza. Israel could face severe diplomatic fallout. With 44 countries represented on the ships, an attack or blockade would be perceived as aggression against the international community itself, not just activists. This could transform Gaza's plight from a regional issue into a global crisis. Analysts warn that even Israel's closest allies may be forced to re-evaluate their stance if their own citizens are caught in confrontation. Intense media coverage magnifies the stakes, ensuring no action goes unnoticed. Conversely, if the flotilla succeeds, it may set a powerful precedent. It would undermine the narrative that Gaza is unreachable, inspiring future convoys and widening cracks in the legitimacy of the blockade. Either path carries immense consequences, placing Israel in a no-win dilemma under the world's gaze. This is no longer just about ships, it is about policy, legitimacy, and the global order's response to humanitarian appeals versus security claims. Amid the maritime standoff, Gaza waits with desperate hope. For its people, the flotilla represents not just aid, but proof that the outside world has not forgotten them. Families follow news updates with cautious optimism. In Gaza's hospitals, doctors plead for supplies. They report shortages so severe that operations are delayed, machines shut down for lack of fuel, and patients perish for want of basic medicine. For them, every box aboard the convoy could save lives. Mothers hope formula and food will reach their children. Aid groups warn of soaring malnutrition, threatening an entire generation. For many families, the sight of incoming ships is the only glimmer of relief after years of hardship. Yet alongside hope comes fear. Residents recall past flotillas stopped by force. They pray history will not repeat itself, and that the ships this time will break through, bringing life instead of another tale of confrontation. The humanitarian flotilla sailing toward Gaza carries more than food and medicine. It carries the weight of global solidarity and the tension of looming confrontation. Every mile closer brings both greater hope and greater risk. Israel stands at a crossroads. Its decisions in the coming hours could alter its global standing for years. Activists aboard the ships have declared their mission peaceful, their determination unshaken. Cameras are ready, and the world is watching. If the flotilla breaks through, it will mark a historic blow to the blockade and a symbol of global defiance against suffering. If it is stopped, the backlash could echo far beyond the Mediterranean, shaping diplomacy and conflict alike. For Gaza's 2 million residents, this fleet is more than ships, it is a lifeline. For the world, it is a test of whether humanity can prevail over politics. The outcome is unwritten, but one truth is clear: history is sailing on those waters tonight.